Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about my thoughts on the Scream 6 trailer and just Scream 6 in general. So I haven't really been talking about Scream 6 much. There's been some updates here and there, but like I was waiting for like the trailer, well the second trailer to come out, the main trailer and stuff, just to really wrap my head around it and stuff like that. And I remember when I saw the trailer for Scream 5, I was really ecstatic for that. I'm all like, wow, the old Stu house, Stu having a relative in the movie. Um, just like, that whole vibe of the first movie. I'm like, wow, and just like, the whole like unlocking the doors with like your cell phone and apps and stuff like that. I'm like, how could it possibly go wrong? And as you all know, I don't like Scream 5 at all. I don't like the lack of the OGs. I don't like how they killed Dewey off. I do not like the actress who plays Sam's acting. Now let me clarify. I don't hate her. I don't love her. It's just like nothing. I just don't like her acting. Period. I didn't like how Tara wasn't like the main person. I didn't like the story revolving around like Sam and the whole Billy Loomis thing, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't like how they killed certain characters off like really fast without really getting to know them. And I was really upset that they let so many people survive at the end of that movie. I'm just not a fan of it. And so looking at this trailer, I know they're supposed to be set in New York. I know the original Ghostface costume and mask is supposed to be used. And I know there's supposed to be like a shrine of all the old killers' costumes and this and that. Other than that, I don't really know what the plot is. Even just by looking at this trailer, it just seems like there's somebody who's really obsessed with the former Ghostface, and they're like, using the old mask and going after the survivors. That just seems to be so far the theme of it, which is okay and cool and everything. I do like the idea that they're in a different setting like New York. My thing is, if you're gonna put it in New York, you need to use every inch of what makes New York, New York, so it can really feel unique and different. Putting it in the subway is cool. I want to see some chases around the streets. The only problem is New York is extremely crowded. When I say crowded, like literally it's crowded. You're bumping elbows with people. That's how crowded it is. How in the world is Ghostface gonna run around without being seen by people? Like when they went into the bodega, and like 'cause the trailer starts off with like Tara and like Sam going in a bodega. They're scared. Ghostface is after them, and there are tons of people in there. Ghostface shows up, stabs somebody, and then all of a sudden everybody starts to run out. I don't want to see that in every scene Ghostface is in. One person gets stabbed and everybody, like hundreds of people, just start storming out. Because that's not going to make it fun, because it's New York. So it makes me wonder, how is this Ghostface going to be able to do stuff when, like, there are tons of people. Now, one benefit is that it's Halloween time around this time. But people are only really going to be wearing costumes on Halloween Day. Sometimes sporadically throughout the month, but mostly on Halloween Day. So once again, how is Ghostface going to do what it is they're going to do? Now, as for Gail, it's great to see Courtney Cox again. However, there's a picture of a guy kissing her in like a photograph picture. And okay, I know her and Dewey have been broken up for a while, you know what I'm saying? And so like since Scream 5, they've been like broken up. We know that. So of course she's gonna have a new person, you know what I'm saying? That's understandable. But here's the thing. In our minds, Scream 5, we don't know how long really they've been broken up. Sorry about that. I had to go take care of something. So anyway, what I was saying was, I know it's expected for Gail to have probably like a boyfriend by now and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because they broke up before Scream 5. But in our minds, we just saw Dewey die in Scream 5. A year has passed and now it's Scream 6. That's how much time has passed. And so it's kind of like, to us, it's kind of like, gee, you just jumped to the next dude you saw. But technically, she's probably been with him for like a very long time. But it's just, I don't know, it just feels weird, her having a new man and everything. It appears she lives in New York from like the new place she's in. And I like how Ghostface snuck up and took out some dude in her place, probably her new guy and everything. And so, because there's no mention of her and him ever having a kid, so I don't think that's her kid in the picture, because Dewey would have been in the picture as well. So it must be her new guy and everything. And so, like, we see Kirby, of course, and which I'm still pissed she's alive. Like, that was just kind of weird. Like, I was like, I'm like, I had made peace with her dying all those years ago. Like, what was it? Like, about like over 10 years, about 10 years ago, I made peace with that. You know what I'm saying? With her dying about 12, something like that year, I made peace with that. But then all of a sudden, here she is popping back up. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. And so it's like, gee, in like 12 years or so, she's like a detective now, and this is kind of like she should be around 27 years old or so. I didn't know they make detectives that young. Like, really, I thought you had to be at least in your 30s or like your 40s to be a detective, but I guess they're younger now. And so that's just kind of weird. She's a detective and stuff because she still looks so young. And so, like, of course, her and Gail trying to figure out, who this killer is and all this other stuff. And I don't understand why the shrine of Ghostface Killer costumes and masks are in New York. Maybe because they found out the kids went to New York, so they're like, okay, we're gonna move our operation to New York. I don't know how many Ghostface it is. So far, it appears just to be one. I know they have all the costumes lined up. I know the first original mask is not the real first original mask, because it's slightly different in shape. All the Scream masks are different. There's a variation to like the size, the jaw, like one jaw. Like the original mask looked really short, kind of, with the short pointy, like, jawline and everything. Then in Scream 4, it had more like an angular, longer jaw, and, stuff like that. And so, like, I don't know how many, like, Ghostface there are. And so, but what is this person's motive? Are they, like, purely just going after the survivors? Okay, that's fine. But I wanted to be a little bit more. Like, Scream has always been about people who are obsessed with Halloween movies, the killers and stuff. Every once in a while, you'll have one killer who will be probably like, like in Mrs. Loomis, you'll have her like be the only one who really wasn't into like horror movies, but every other one was. So if this killer isn't into the horror movie thing, that's going to be a slightly disappointing. And so there needs to be like a real theme as to why exactly this killer is really going after them and what exactly is their motive other than just wanting to be. I'm assuming they're obsessed with like the stab movies and they're all like, oh, well, this is disrespectful. You're still alive. And Ghostface tried to do everything they could to kill you. So I'm going to get you. That's not really a strong motive for me. It's just kind of the same motive of Scream 5 with them being like a strong toxic stand. So who really knows what the real motive is of this killer, but hopefully it will be good. Now, as for the actual original Ghostface mask, a lot of people are like crying foul of comparison to Jason Myers mask or Michael Myers or whatever. I'm getting them so confused. Michael Myers from the Halloween movies, because it's worn and tattered and burned, and this one's all jacked up. And so yeah, it really does seem like, because it's just a shame. Everybody tried to be like Scream in the past. Now Scream is trying to be like everybody else, and that sucks. It's kind of like the new Star Trek. People always tried to be like Star Trek in the past, but now the newer Star Treks are trying to be like everybody else. It's not supposed to be like that. You are supposed to be that trend, like, setter. Also, it does make me wonder, how did this mask decay over about like what, 27 years? Because like I have a Ghostface costume and mask I bought back in like the late 90s, like when I was in high school, and my mask is totally fine. The color is a little worn, but that's about it. It's not like decayed and everything. Now, to be completely honest with you, yes, a costume with a lot of latex and stuff will decay over time. We've seen those not Halloween, Hollywood movies of costumes. The Ninja Turtles, Batman, Power Rangers, Over years, all that leather and like, latex and stuff has decayed over time, just not the entirety of the costume. Now the turtle ones were worse because they were worn, they fought in them and stuff like that. They was putting in like boxes and they overheated and they just cracked and everything like that. Maybe it's the same thing with this. Maybe after, because, police people, they put things in boxes and stuff. And so it probably overheated and cracked. But I didn't think it would do like that much damage to it. Plus, with the newer like Halloween movies, they just seem to be about like action and revenge. And I kind of got that same vibe from this trailer, action and revenge. Now, we have a brand new cast along with our older cast. Most likely the new cast is expendable and they're just going to take them out one by one, which is a shame because there's one actress there I actually like from this Hulu like horror series I talked about like last year, Light as a Feather. I forget the actress name, but she's in that. And so like it's gonna be sucky to see like them like being taken out. Now, as for the older cast returning, I've never particularly liked them. Like, I could care less about the twins. They just don't do nothing for me, especially the boy. I don't know his name. Now, the girl, she's just a Randy wannabe because they're related to him. But I just never cared for them. Who else is still alive? Tara. I like Tara. I like Jenna Ortega. My only thing is watch your eye movements. I get it, Jenna. You're the new it girl and you're just coming off Wednesday and you got that whole eye thing going on, like those cool stares you do. But it's just kind of weird when she's acting more with her eyes in the trailer than she is with anything else. So just watch that because you don't want to imitate like Wednesday in everything you do, because some stars will do that, like Johnny Depp. For so many years, he was just playing Jack Sparrow in everything he did. And then there's Sam. I just never particularly liked this actress acting. Like, I just never have. Like, I've seen her in the trailer and she's just in the trailer. I've seen her in Scream 5 and I cannot stand her acting. Now, I did see her in a show called La Vida and her acting's not that much good there either. It's just that she's really hot and really sexy and everything. And like in the other show I talked about, she gets like nude a lot. And so like, I just don't see the acting appeal. Like, yeah, you can, like, I'm so sick and tired of seeing really hot, good looking people who can't act particularly well. I got enough of that on the CW with Riverdale and stuff. And that's why I don't watch Riverdale no more. And that in the writing and stuff. And so I just hope this movie's gonna be good because I love Scream. I own all the movies except for 5. I will never buy 5. Even though I'm not a fan of like a huge fan of like the television series, there are aspects and elements and episodes I do particularly like. And it's just like, and there are even some fan-made like videos on YouTube I like that. That's how much I'm a Scream fan, you know what I'm saying? But I haven't even talked about the absence of Neve Campbell yet. It's gonna be sad not to see her in this movie. Like, pay her her dues and let her come back. Because this is starting to fall in that trend of just slasher movie after slasher movie. They just want money. The studio. And so there's no real story no more. This should have been just a trilogy and ended it with that. But Scream 4 was so good and it was supposed to start off a new trilogy, but people really didn't particularly like that. And even though it's the lowest rated movie in the franchise, it's still a whole lot better than Scream like 5 and everything. And Scream 3's problem is just the new cast. Like, Lord Jesus, they got a lot of D-list actors in that. But anyway, but it's like, yeah, it's just like, I love Scream. And I want Neve Campbell to be in. If they were going to do a saga with like 6 movies, she should have been in all of them and she should have had a bigger role in Scream 5. But it's like, without her being there, we all know how this is probably going to turn out. I've said this before. When you're like having a TV show and your lead star leaves the show, it limps on until it gets canceled. Sometimes they get canceled right after that. And we've seen what happened in horror movies of the past, where it's like the lead person leaves, like when Jamie Lee Curtis left Halloween all those years ago. People particularly don't like those sequels and stuff. And then they rebooted the entire thing, like, I think 3 times and stuff. And people still aren't particularly liking these movies. And so it's just kind of like when your lead isn't there, people don't really care. And yeah, I rhymed, but I wasn't trying to. And it just takes away from that. I mean, look at I Know What You Did Last, or I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, the third one. No person from any of the other movies was in that, and it was terrible, man. It was really terrible and stuff. I made fun of that movie. It's that terrible. And it's just like, even though the second one wasn't that great, it was still a good slasher fun movie. But then that third one was just terrible and stuff. I still like my pitch for Scream 6. Like, just incorporate all the survivors, like the original trilogy, the new trilogy, and the TV show, and have all 3 killers, like, work together. That would be awesome. I just hope this movie's good. Man, I just really hope this movie's good. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.